Hello. So we're going to resume the Create, Build, Learn experience working on the Sumerian badge. So I'm on the Educate page. And if you're not familiar with the Educate platform or how to get started, there's some other videos that will explain that in more detail. This particular video is actually going to focus on Module 2. So you see me navigating to get to Module 2. And let's look at the Module 2 objectives. So this module outlines the necessary prereq knowledge in order to successfully utilize Sumerian, as well as introduce the basic steps to get started on the platform. So after completion, you can describe the purpose of Sumerian service and understand the tech requirements and Amazon prereqs to utilize Sumerian. So what is Sumerian? So Sumerian lets you run VR and AR and 3D apps quickly and easily without requiring any specialized programming or 3D graphics expertise. So like I said in yesterday's video, that when you start getting on the Sumerian platform, there is like something that's more GUI, graphical user interface with the state machine, and you can kind of drag and drop and kind of select the actions that you want, the events that you want to happen by just like a drop down. So it is very, like I said, graphical user interface GUI. It's a very easy to understand, fairly simple to understand interface for anybody who's not wanting to actually learn how to do the coding. And for those who do want to do the coding because that's just their preference. Sometimes, like for example, I like to do the command prompt, do something in the CLI as opposed to actually open up my file explorer, just because I find it easier and just simpler and just less things to move around. I'm less overwhelmed with all the visuals. So it's kind of, whatever you want to do, there's an opportunity for it. So with Sumerian, you can build highly immersive and interactive scenes that run on a popular hardware, such as all those goggles, as well as Android and iOS mobile devices. For example, you can build a virtual classroom that lets you train new employees around the world, or you can build a virtual environment that enables people to tour your building remotely. So if you're doing a tour for, if you're a developer or in real estate and you're wanting to do a tour of a particular building or a house or some type of real estate for people who are not able to be there in person, this might be a great way to do that. Let's see. Sumerian makes it easy to create all the building blocks needed to build highly immersive and interactive 3D experiences, including adding objects such as characters, furniture, and landscape, and designing, animating, and scripting environments. Sumerian does not require specialized expertise, and you can design scenes directly from your browser. So let's go ahead and click on this.
Applications. You can use it to build almost any kind of AR or VR app, such as a virtual training classroom. You can even create a virtual simulation of the surface of Mars. In Sumerian, you can easily create a digital character like me. You can choose my appearance, voice, language, and you can define how I interact with your users. I can do things like narrate a script, respond to questions, and guide users of your application throughout a scene. You can use Sumerian's integration with Amazon Polly to input the text that I'll speak. I can use multiple voices, and I even speak other languages. Sumerian's integration with Amazon Lex gives me automatic speech recognition and natural language understanding. That means I'll be able to understand spoken word and know how to respond to it. That's all for now. I hope you give Sumerian a try.
Okay, so that's a little bit of information about Sumerian from one of their hosts that's within the platform. There we go. So let's see, the 3D engine provides a library for advanced scripting with JavaScript, but you don't have to be a programmer to create interactive VR. You can use the built-in state machine to animate objects and respond to user actions like clicks and movements. So that's what I was saying earlier. It has a really interesting GUI, again, graphical user interface that will let you just kind of drag and drop. This says to You can be used to animate objects and respond to user actions like with clicks and movements. So it has an event listener built in with this drag and drop technique that they have. But also you can use just like straight JavaScript if you like. So Sumerian on the web. At the core, Sumerian is a web-based editor for constructing 3D scenes with animation, scripted interaction, and special effects. The editor runs in your web browser, and I think Chrome is the preferred one on that. All of your data is stored when you're ready to share your work with the world. You can publish it directly to CloudFront. CloudFront is Amazon's CDN content delivery network. And basically what that means is it just makes the content closer to you. That's like the very short and probably not the most technically correct way to describe it. Because those things are closer to you and where you're at, that means it's less of a lag time. Through CloudFront as a static website, you can load directly into your WebVR compatible browser and headset. Again, I think that's Chrome, and I'm not sure about the other ones, if they're compatible or not. Or a headset, or embedded in your website for others to access. If you don't know how to script, the Sumerian editor provides a fully featured state machine, which again is that GUI, graphical user interface, where you can drag and drop for scripting animations and using interactions visually with no coding required. So click on the scene here below to view a sample scene built by Amazon Sumerian. For best results, view with WebGL compatible browser with like Chrome or Firefox, okay, using the latest version. To view the scene with the head-mounted display, we're not doing that. So let's go ahead and click on here. Go ahead and hide this. Scene is muted. Or click here. I'm not sure it's supposed to do anything. I don't remember it's supposed to do anything aside from just like a moving train. And you can see in the URL here that it's all that data, and it's in the US West to Sumerian AWS. So this is a particular region within AWS, somewhere on the West Coast, I'm assuming. And then Sumerian's the name of obviously the platform, and AWS is obviously the name of AWS. Okay, I think that's all we're supposed to do. Go ahead and close that out. WebVR is an open specification that lets you create and share VR experiences through the web. WebVR applications like any web app, are supported on several desktop and mobile operating systems. This enables you to avoid the need to port your application to different programming languages and package formats to reach all users. Sumerian provides tools and components that you need to that you can use to add VR to your scene. So Sumerian and AR. Sumerian also lets you create AR applications. An AR app can be used on your phone's camera or any compatible headset, which is like I mentioned earlier video. It's like kind of Snapchat. You have your face and then you can kind of filter it. So it lays over on top of it. Sumerian provides a template and sample application for creating ARKit applications for Android and iOS. Microsoft phones. I used to have a Microsoft phone. Couldn't do anything with it because nothing was created for Microsoft phones. I don't know if they still make Microsoft phones. So let's see. Let's click. Let's see where that takes us. This is the user guide. Okay. So let's go ahead and explore this a little bit. So this is actually AWS's website. Okay. Clicked on that. Let's go ahead and go back here. This is actually AWS's website. So I'm on AWS. I'm in the documentation, and I'm in Amazon Sumerian, and I'm in the user guide. This one isn't very long, so that's why we're going to kind of go over it because some of them are pretty long. So Sumerian provides a template, assets, and sample projects that you can use to develop AR applications for iOS and Android. The scene template is available on the dashboard. We'll get to that eventually. I don't think we'll get to that in this particular video. Use it as a starting point for your AR scene. So the scene includes the following resources. Let's see. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's easy to kind of get sidetracked on something, and I want to kind of stay focused on the module. So let's see how far we get to stuff without before I feel like we're going down a rabbit hole. Okay, so this is the dashboard. This is like the interface. I think I mentioned earlier, if you're familiar with things like Unity and stuff, this might be a little bit familiar to you. But this is the dashboard in which you can utilize the different resources and assets that's in Sumerian. Just want to go back here. Close that tab. Don't do that tab. So the scene includes the following resources. There's a camera. There's camera control. There's an anchor. And you can construct an AR scene from this template by adding models and making them children of the AR. Okay, we're getting into stuff that I don't think we need to get into right now. So let's kind of go back to the basics of this. But just know that's there if you want to take a deep dive. But it's like I said, it's really easy to get lost in a rabbit hole and get yourself confused when you haven't quite covered the basics yet. So want to go back into the basics. So Sumerian and 3D objects. Sumerian provides a library of optimized 3D objects and scene templates that you can use to construct scenes without any existing assets. If you do have 3D models, you can import them with their animations and textures by dragging them from your file system into your editor canvas. Sumerian supports models in OBJ and FBX formats. I honestly don't know what FBX stands for. Anyways, so there's 3D assets that you can use and you can create. And again, this is the Sumerian platform. This is the interface that you use to create stuff. So prereq knowledge. There are some fundamental prereq knowledge that you will need to have prior to diving into Sumerian. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to actually get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff on the resources within AWS. So I'm going to stop this video right here and focus on kind of one thing at a time, just kind of picking up. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this and okay, and just to the next.